and welcome to Tayo Mini Reads, Reviews, Discusses, Monologues about everything and anything, and that's on period. Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. I have been gone for about two and a half months. I needed to take, I think, some well-deserved break and rest. I wouldn't say I'm like back 100% because I am pursuing other things. However, I will always come on here and give updates on books that I'm reading, books that I got, and any relevant updates because I know how important my videos are to you guys. Anyways, and in line with that, I also didn't read as much, which was also a factor in me not making as many videos. So I'm gonna do a mega wrap up for April, May, and June. Mostly because I didn't read too many books for this 3 months. I was traveling, I was busy with work, and I was also starting a new business venture. So I just didn't have the time. But I still love to read. I still love books. So that's never gonna change. So, anyways, I think that's enough of a preamble. Let's get started in the books that I finished in April, May, and June of 2026. So the first one, well, I think I'm gonna go kind of like in order. The first one will be this Inevitable Rune, which is DCC book 7. I read this in April, and right after this, I went to the next book in the series. Now, in this book, and it's so chunky, but this was the 9th floor, and this was basically the faction wars, which Matt had kind of been alluding to from like the very beginning of this series. So it was very interesting to see how the war, was gonna come, like was gonna happen, right? They had like 7 or 8 teams, and the NPCs also had a team, and the crawlers had a team, which was unprecedented because those two teams have just never been in charge of any group during the faction war. So Inevitable Rune was basically more like a war time kind of book, a bit different from the typical like floor, like they're going through a floor and they have levels and challenges that they have to complete before they can move to the next level. This one was just more fighting strategies, protecting your house, not letting the enemy get in to conquer your flag kind of thing. So it wasn't bad, but if you like, for me, I'm not really a war girly, so it wasn't bad because I was following the characters on this story, but not really my favorite book. The one I know I really liked the most was The Eye of the Bedlam Bride, which was the one before this. That was one of my top DCC books. So after that, I went on to read the latest one that just came out in was it May? I think it was May. So A Parade of Horribles, which is book 8, came out. So this is after the faction wars. Then you see them go back into regular, floor type quests kind of things. But this one was more about racing. So basically they had a starting point, and you can see the the cars. They had a starting point, and everyone has to race to the finish line, and whoever comes in dead last is like gone. And they were actually racing against NPCs and something like that. So this one was, and I think this one was actually really, it was kind of sad because if you came last in the race, like that's it, you're gone. So it wasn't really like anything you could do, versus in the other ones where maybe you could take like a potion, or someone could give you some kind of thing where you could avoid dying. This one was more absolute in its death. And then we do get more into like other stuff that's happening in the whole Dungeon Crawler world as it is. Like we see different characters, different races, and we start to understand the motivations of some of the other I want to say like I don't know, like other types of peoples. They're not really people, but species. Okay, let's say species. You get to see the motivations of other species, and pretty much everyone is like they're in for it. Honestly, it's not just even the crawlers. Like the stakes are really really high on this one. So this was a really good read. I enjoyed it. I'm sad that we will not get the next book. I don't know when. Maybe next year, but that's been optimistic. I don't know. I don't know how fast this author writes, but he should be really fast because he's churned out 8 books. Like that's a lot. And from this book, we kind of get an inkling into the fact that the next book, which is book 9, might just be the last book in the series because towards the end of the book, Carl, our dear Carl, has triggered a massive worldwide kind of doomsday kind of thing. So it kind of sets up the pace for the next book because we know that by the next book it's probably going to be the end of the world as we all know it. So see if I can put them here. So those were so I finished this 2 DCC and I'm happy to announce that I'm all caught up on the DCC books, which I'm so sad because they were always something I looked forward to reading almost every month. But now I'm caught up, so boo boo. I have to wait till the next book like regular people. But anyways, the next book that I finished, and these books, I finished Inevitable Rune in April, and this was in May. I only read one book in April, and yes, that's one else, but I just was not in the reading space. But this was in May, and then after that, I went on to read this book from Yejide Kilanko, which is called In Our Own Ways. Yejide Kilanko Yejide Kilanko is a Nigerian author, and this book is about a guy who grew up dirt poor and decided to make it in life. And also he lost his mom at a really young age, so he has some trauma regarding that. But then he gets married to this girl who's like super uber rich, like her parents are rich, and they are struggling because they couldn't get pregnant. And there's some stuff that happened which the guy does just so that she can get pregnant, and it's not good. It's terrible. So read it if you are interested in something like that where betrayal between a man and a woman, like it's of the highest category, flavor, whatever you can call it. The betrayal was so loud. There was gaslighting. There was just so many things going on in this book. I mean, it is chunky. It's like like 400 pages. Like I was so stressed reading this book. This book was actually not bad. I liked it, but I didn't like the direction that the author took because a lot of things that the main character Senami was doing just was so unbelievable. Like with each page, I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" So it just went past the point of believability. That's a word. Yeah, that was my gripe with this one. Everything else was fine, but I think it just kept going, and I was like, this is starting to look like it's a movie, like a show, like it's fake. I don't know how to put it, but that's the best way I can put it. The next one is A Place Called Maybe by Damola Makinde. This is also another one. This one was good. I didn't have any issues with it. I just didn't like the fact that there were no repercussions for the male lead. So let me tell you what the story is about. The story is about a guy called Akin. He leaves Nigeria because he wants to make it in America, right? But he has a wife and kid. So he decides to try his luck in America and see, once he's settled and he's made loads of money, bucket loads of money, because he just imagines that there's trees in America, you could just come and pluck it. So he that's so bad. But anyway, so he decides to leave his wife and kid and come to America to see if he can make it. And then once he's settled, he will bring them over. What happens is he quickly realizes that America is not it's not a city of gold. You kind of have to work and work really hard. This guy used to be a bank manager in Nigeria. If you're familiar, like that's a big deal. And so he left that to come to America and be doing Uber and like other like manual jobs. So he's really like in a tight spot, and then he does something as a way to get his papers. This is basically like an immigration story. I don't want to say too much, but it was really good. I just felt like Akin did not get any repercussions. He didn't get any consequences for the pain and suffering he inflicted on his wife. His wife, on the other hand, also was too complacent in letting this guy walk all over her, and that was one of my gripe with it. All in all, it was phenomenal. It was well written, very clever. I loved it. So you should pick it up if this is something that interests you as well. It's on Amazon. And then the last book that I finished in April, May, June was Three is a Crowd by Chinaza Anaele. Now this was a top star read for me. This is a instant 5-star for me. This was actually the best book I've read this whole year. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating a lot, but it was a really good book. And I think it's because I'm such a sucker for questionable questionable relationships. I think I am. I've actually thought about it, and I've detected a trend where I just like the people being in the gray. It's like, are you cheating or are you cheating? And that's what this book is we follow this girl called Cheta. Cheta has a boyfriend. She loves him, or so she thinks. She loves the boyfriend, but then she finds out that she is like I don't want to say sexually. She's like she's drawn to the older brother of her boyfriend. Like when I say drawn, like he walks in the room and she's like immediately like she's aware of him, right? He says something, she's sensitive, so that kind of thing, right? So that's how she knows that, uh-oh, something is going on and I don't know what it is. So she tries to, ignore these feelings, and she eventually spends time with him, and it kind of snowballs into this really massive fight. But you know what? I was actually rooting for her and the older brother. I'm just sorry. Like, just because you're dating someone doesn't mean he's the right person. Okay? 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 That's really what this is. Okay? So she was with the younger brother, but he was actually a bad person. That's all I'm gonna say. Not like a bad person in the sense of like he was doing bad things, but you could tell like he just wasn't the right person for her, right? But she's already in a relationship, so technically she was cheating on her boyfriend. I mean, there's no way to float around it. She basically was cheating on her boyfriend. But I feel like it was justified because the boyfriend was trash, and she met her true love, which was his older brother. I feel like I honestly, this is something that I have had to self-reflect, because I'm like, why do I like this story so much? I'm so drawn to it. And the reason why I'm actually chuckling is because I just finished rewatching One Spring Night, which is a Korean TV show, almost kind of like this, right? It wasn't like a brother, but it was basically this girl who was in a relationship, but she wasn't happy. But she didn't know that she wasn't happy until she meets this guy who's a pharmacist, and they're immediately drawn to each other. And the whole show is literally about the whole cheating affair, and it's just crazy. But I'm on my 5th or 6th rewatch, so there's something inherently wrong with me. I'm just gonna say. But anyways, back to this book. So this book was my favorite book. It was really nice. It was very emotional. You could tell the tension between Cheta and Casey, or Cassie. I don't know how to say it. Every time they were on screen, every time they came, their POVs came, because it was 3 POVs: the brother, the older brother, the younger brother, and Cheta. Every time we had their POVs, especially the older brother, you could tell like he really, really loved her, and he was really the right person for her, right? He held her heart, and he knew exactly how to treat her. I also like the fact that she went home. I forgot where she went, somewhere in the East. I don't want to I don't know the exact town. Maybe Anambra, Enugu, something of that sort. But she goes back home, after, the whole affair is blown out and it's just horrible, and she moves back into with her parents, maybe in Suka, I'm not sure. But I really love that part where you just see that, day-to-day activity, basically like being in the village. Like, it was just so nice, and it took me back to simpler times where things were just simpler. You could just live in your parents' house, and you didn't have any worries in the world, and people were always concerned about you, but in a good way. It was really nice, and she had a really good bunch of friends. So I enjoyed this. This was a 5-star read for me, but again, I feel like there's something wrong with me. And we will probably need to investigate that. But anyways, those are all the books that I finished in April, May, June. I have a couple of books that I am currently reading. I'll do a video on that because there's a bunch of them. But yeah, let me know the books that you've finished quite recently. If it's fantasy, if it's African Nigerian books, let me know. I'll be excited to chat about those. And let me know if you missed me too, because I'm back. But thank you so much for listening to me. Yep, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Until then, bye.